Queen cash crisis as millions wiped off duchy funding monarch, Princess Anne and Wessexes. The Queen, Princess Anne, Prince Edward and Sophie plus a number of other royals may have to reduce their spending after millions of pounds was wiped off the value of the Duchy of Lancaster in just the first week of coronavirus outbreak, with its tenancies due to take a more significant hit in the months to come. The Queen's annual income from the Duchy of Lancaster, the landed estate that pays for much of her family's office expenses, rose by 7% to £23.2 million in the last year up until the end of March before the worst of the coronavirus crisis hit. But the 45,000-acre property empire, a cash cow created in 1399 to provide a private income for the reigning monarch, has warned it faces tough times ahead because of the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on its financial investments and on its tenants in rural and urban estates across England and Wales. A royal finance expert warned today it could mean the Queen and other members of her family might have to tighten their belts. The royal household is already facing a wave of redundancies because of a downturn in income from tourist visitors to royal residences. The Lancaster accounts up to March 31 only cover 1 week of lockdown, but the Duchy's annual report, published quietly last Friday, highlighted difficulties collecting rents from tenants and warned that many of its tenants, especially retailers and those in the leisure industry, were likely to be badly affected. Around 62% of its income is from commercial property. In the first week of lockdown the estate saw £10 million wiped off its capital value, a 1.8% fall to £538 million. Nathan Thompson, the chief executive and clerk of the Duchy Council, said, although these results include only 1 week of the COVID-19 outbreak, the pandemic has had an early impact on capital values. The fall of 1.8% in net asset value is largely due to a deterioration in the value of our financial portfolio following market reaction to COVID-19. We also recognize that, while it is too early to predict the eventual outcome, many of our tenants' businesses will be adversely affected, particularly those in the leisure and retail sectors. Next year is therefore likely to present significant challenges. However, by controlling costs carefully, being prudent with our capital expenditure and working collaboratively with our tenants, we believe we can protect the portfolio while continuing to support the most vulnerable in our communities. The historic portfolio of land and assets, which includes the Savoy Hotel and shops on Strand in London but is mainly concentrated in the north of England, the Midlands, and South Wales, is held in trust for the reigning sovereign. The Queen uses much of the money to pay for official expenditure not covered by the £85.9 million taxpayer-funded sovereign grant, including the cost of running offices for Princess Anne, the Earl and Countess of Wessex, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, the Duke of Kent, and Princess Alexandra. Prince Charles uses income from the separate Duchy of Cornwall to pay for the lifestyle and expenses of his branch of the family. Royal finance expert David McClure, the author of the forthcoming book The Queen's True Wealth, said, although all appears rosy with the Duchy's record results, the full impact of the corona crisis has yet to be felt. There are warnings of storm clouds ahead with talk of a prolonged downturn. This could mean that in the next few years the Queen may have slightly less money to pay for her own personal overheads as well as bankroll members of her immediate family with both their public and private expenses. Altogether it looks like the Duchy, the Queen's cash cow, may become slightly less bountiful and that will have a knock-on effect on the Windsor wealth. He added, more than likely the 94-year-old Queen also sets some of the Duchy cash aside as a legacy for her children, grandchildren and even great-grandchildren.